Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, and it's Winterreise Wednesday, or Winterreise Wednesday. It doesn't matter as long as you preserve the alliteration. Yes, this is the classical music equivalent of Taco Tuesday, that wonderful event. It originated, I think, by Taco Bell restaurant to get people to eat more tacos on Tuesday in the workplace. Well, we need to do the classical music equivalent. We really do, because when I did my repertoire video of Winterreise, which you all received with rapturous joy, I noted that there were dozens and dozens and dozens of recordings, and in the comments, well, they all came out. I gave you the 20 best. I mean the best. But of course, there are many other bests because it's been recorded by everybody and by most singers who do it multiple times. And so everybody had a favorite. It seems like there is no consensus at all about what the best Winterreises are. And if anybody sang it, somebody loved it. It doesn't matter who it is or who sang it. I could have sung it, and you would have loved it. Well, somebody would have loved it. And maybe that person would have commented. I mean, that's what happens with these things. And it is one of those works, as I pointed out, that it's so serious and so deep and so rich and nuanced that, you can do it a million different ways, and everybody likes it. You like people who have gorgeous voices. You like people like Julius Patzak who have ruined voices and are old and decrepit, but it doesn't matter because you should sound old and decrepit in some parts and you should be youthful and jolly in other parts. It's amazing. It really is. And so we inaugurate a new series. It's going to be a mini series, actually. I mean, there's a limit to how much of this stuff I'm sure anyone could tolerate, but we're going to test those limits with Winterreise Wednesdays for the next few years, and we'll see what happens. So, our first entry in the Winterreise Wednesday sweepstakes, recordings that were not in the repertoire discussion, but which some of you have mentioned, or which I may have mentioned and didn't cover, the first one is the Richter Peter Schreier Winterreise. Now, as I mentioned, my selection, my favorite for tenor versions, and one of the very best, which most of you, I'm very happy to say, agreed with. Thank God. I was ducking and covering when I came up with that one, was this one, Andras Schiff and Peter Schreier, which is marvelous. And Schiff, of course, is a wonderful Schriff, whatever his name is. Schiff is a wonderful pianist, and he does really good Schubert, but he's a very sensitive accompanist. And this is the Schreier Schiff Winterreise. Yes, indeedy. But this one is the Richter Schreier Winterreise, because we have the iconic and iconoclastic pianist Sviatoslav Richter, who also is like a Schubert specialist, but in a weird kind of way, known for his incredibly slow tempos and transcendental stillness and all that stuff. So he did it with Peter Schreier, and oh my, what a difference. And it says something, frankly. Pardon my voice, by the way, I'm getting over a cold. It says something, by the way, that people tend to consider this the Richter Winterreise rather than the Schreier Winterreise. That may not be a good thing, because Winterreise is first and foremost a song cycle. It's meant for the singist, not for the pianist. And Richter had such an outsized personality and such a legendary reputation that taking on anything with him was sort of a challenge. Not that he wasn't sensitive as an accompanist. He was, in his own way. He was. But Schreier himself recounts how he was startled at some of the extremely slow tempi that Richter adopted, and which made this version very different and harder for him to sing, for sure, because you need more breath when it's slower. And also, he was a little, older and whatnot. I think he was older. I don't know which one came first. Of course, that's a good question, isn't it? Let's take a look, shall we? Here is the actual booklet for that huge box that has the Winterreise in it. Actually, Richter did do some song accompaniments. He did the Miracle-Lieder by Hugo Wolf with Fischer-Dieskau and some other Schubert stuff with Fischer-Dieskau as well. So this was recorded in 1985. So I think this one actually came first. Let me make sure. Yeah, I'm sure it did. Because the other one The Phillips one here, well, they were all on Phillips, but one way or another. Do they have dates? Yes, they do have dates. 91. It's a few years. Okay, so I didn't notice much difference anyway in Richter's vocalism. He's still the same guy. So his singing is lovely, but the interpretation has a very different balance of weight. Let's start at the beginning. Let's just look at timings. Timings aren't everything, but when it comes to songs that are usually very short and the timings vary widely, well, that really matters. It really does. So we start with Gute Nacht, which with Richter here is 6 minutes and 27 seconds long. It may be the slowest ever for that. I didn't look at all of them, but it's pretty slow. Because this one is 5 minutes and 26 seconds with Schiff. I mean, that's a big difference in a little song. The same thing is true of, let's see, Wasserflut is 4 minutes and 56 seconds. It's 4 minutes and 12 seconds here. Der Lindenbaum is actually 5 minutes and 36 seconds and 5 minutes here. Now, it's not all slower. There are actually a couple songs here, I believe, that are quicker. I mean, if I'm not mistaken. Let me take a look here. Rückblick is 2 minutes and 12 seconds for Richter, 2 minutes and 9 seconds. Okay, so that's not much difference. And, well, generally speaking, I think there were a couple that were quicker. I was checking this out. Yeah, Decca is 1 minute and 26 seconds with Schiff, and it's 1 minute and, there we go, 23 seconds with Richter. Well, you gained 3 seconds. The point I want to make is that in songs that are quicker, it's a couple of seconds. In songs that are slower, it can be like a minute. And these songs are very short, so generally speaking, so that makes a big difference. And in Der Leiermann, oh my God, no, 4 minutes and 13 seconds, which is not by any means the slowest of the slow. It's not. And it's 3 minutes and 19 seconds in this performance, however. I mean, it's a minute in something that's only 3 or 4 minutes long. Okay, so that's a, 25%, 30%, 33% difference? It's a big difference. It's a big difference. And so this Winterreise, the Richter, has never quite gotten the acclaim that this one got. And because it's vocal and doesn't just fairly squarely focus on the pianist, I mean, even if you want it to, it doesn't. I know. Schubert was noteworthy for making his accompaniments as rich and musical and important as the vocal line often is not. And so they are beloved of great pianists who love Schubert. I mean, playing with the songs with a colleague is a wonderful thing. It really is. But that still doesn't make it a pianist's game. It really doesn't. And for that reason, the Richter Winterreise is not, it's a bit of a curiosity. It's never gotten quite the acclaim because, well, there's that pesky singer in there singing things, and all the Richter groupies, don't like it when the voice gets in the way of their god's expostulations on the keyboard. Whereas the singer people, rightly, I think, prefer the more vibrant and contrasty and exciting version with Schiff. So it's out there, and a perfect candidate as our first entree in Winterreise Wednesdays. So tune in next week. Oh, now, by the way, I realize that if this is the year, 2018, and it may be like you don't have to watch this on a Wednesday. You can do it anytime you want. It's okay. I just want you to know. But that was the initial concept. And Taco Tuesdays is a pretty good idea, too, frankly. They're delicious. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me, and take care.